So from the previous clip where we created the strip of fabric on one sleeve, I basically just copied and mirror pasted the same strip of fabric onto the other side and applied the button and the buttonhole once again and simulated. So now I have the same thing on the other side. So basically I just use the same technique. Now that the top is done, we can now focus some attention to the shorts, so the bottom part. So right now it's looking a bit unrealistic. It doesn't really have any wrinkles at all and not a lot of detail, or any detail for that matter. And we're going to change that by adding some pockets. Now, as we already know, adding pockets or any kind of detail for that matter in MD is with the use of internal lines. So we're going to take our internal polygon tool and create a shape for our pockets right here in the front pattern of our shorts. So I'm going to create something like this, but I'm going to change it later. Once it appears in the 3D window, it's going to be easier to change it. Okay, now that I see it, I'm able to change it, so let's make it with the edit pattern tool. Let's make it a bit smaller, so let's push this a bit upwards. You can also push this line a bit more to the side, and let's push this up a bit. And just modify something until we get something that we like. And just modify the lines until you get something that you're satisfied with. And let's also use our edit curvature tool to curve this part. Okay, I'm happy with the result. Now all I need is a pattern that's also something like this shape, so I can sew the pattern onto the internal lines that I just created. Now I'm going to show you basically a little trick that you can do. So I don't need to go and take my polygon tool and create a similar pattern that I'm going to be sewn onto these internal lines, but I can simply take my transform pattern tool and select the pattern, the internal lines that I just created, right click and go clone as pattern. And I get an identical clone that is basically a pattern. And now I can just simply sew this on to the internal lines with my segment sewing tool. So this part is going to be sewn on to this one, the bottoms to the bottoms, this one also to this, and don't forget to also sew this one. But we're going to leave this curved line to be unstitched, of course, because pockets are usually not stitched there. And also we need to check out in the 3D window if the lines are going straight and the seam lines are going very well. So I can also position it a bit better in the 3D window and simulate. There we go. Now let's just go to our display options and disable internal lines because they're bothering me a bit. Alright, with that set, I'm going to come to the 2D window, select the pattern, right click and select layer clone over. And what this does, it creates basically another clone of the pattern that I have and it stitches onto it. So if I go to my edit sewing tool, you see that these two are automatically connected. Now we use this technique to make the pockets appear more thicker, but we can also apply some changes. Now if I only take the clone pattern and make it a bit larger, you'll see that I'm able to generate a little bit of wrinkles right here, and it's starting to look more as a pocket. I can even go bigger if I would like to, and I get even more wrinkles right here. So I'm going to do the same for the other side. So select both of the pockets, Control C and Control R to mirror copy, and let's also right click and choose symmetrization. Okay, now let's position them with the help of the gizmo. A bit closer. and simulate. Alright, since the pockets are done, we're going to be focusing our attention to creating interesting effects on our waistband with the use of the layer clone. And we're also going to be looking at the steam brush tool in the next clip.